Welcome back to the Yes Show. Our guest today has the coolest job in the industry. Nicole Adams is the VP of Culture Programs and Engagement at Peachtree Group, or as we like to call it, she's the Director of Fun. Nicole brings over 20 years expertise in hospitality. Her experience spans from sales management, event coordination, and operations, including overseeing the F&B for the athletics department at the University of Alabama. Skilled in building client relationships, she excels in creating impactful programs that align with our organizational goals and enrich team member experience. In today's episode, she is going to share with us who the hospitality icon is that gave her her first break in hospitality, what special unknown talent she has, and how you can get your vacation paid for. That's right, paid for. Ooh, it's a juicy one. Let's dive in. Welcome to the Yes Show. I'm your host, Christine Trippy. Each week, we'll explore the life-changing power of saying yes, along with hotel leadership made easy. Get ready for inspiration, fun, and sweet hospitality. Let's go. All right, my friend Nicole, you said yes to leaving everything you know behind for a new opportunity with a management company. And it led you to working with the legend himself, Mr. Horst Schultz, former CEO and co-founder of the Ritz-Carlton. I want to hear all about that.
Woo, girl. Let
Yes.
me tell you, as a lifelong Chicagoan, I never thought I would find myself in Auburn, Alabama. But when the Mr. Horst Schultz himself asks you to go, you say, when, sir? And that's exactly what happened. Right out
That's
of
so
college.
cool.
Yes, yes. I got hired onto his team. I think it was his probably third or fourth hotel when he had come out of retirement from Ritz-Carlton and opened a boutique property in downtown Chicago, now across from Trump Towers. It's gone through several flags since, because this was almost 20 years ago. It's a
Very
beautiful, beautiful property. And yeah, so I got hired on to be their GM of the restaurant there. It wasn't quite open. We were under construction. And he asked me if I would head to Auburn, Alabama, to work in their food and beverage department and help in their banquets department. And then lo and behold, I became the banquet manager just by default.
And this is
And
right out of college, right?
this is right out of college, and this is a university hotel. So not only were we running all of the university food and beverage in a full service hotel, we are also teaching practicum classes because Ports and the university are so tied together. And actually, the university most recently named the hospitality school after him. That's how intricate of a part he's had in that university's progression with the hospitality program.
That's
It's
such
pretty
an
neat.
honor. Yeah, that's pretty neat. Now, okay, tell us a little bit about him. What was it like being led by him
Ooh,
and being so young? Did you even
yes.
know the enormity of who was leading you?
Not quite at the time.
Yeah.
As the months went on and further down the road, I realized kind of what I was up against from a training standpoint, which was really perfection. I was on that team. I was ready for that. And he was a nice man, a very cordial man. He was in Auburn quite often. We hosted all of the general manager conferences to his other properties at this location. So we really had heightened F&B from the get-go. He taught me how to be innovative with event strategy and creation, all while never giving up on the level of service.
Can you remember a specific time or lesson or maybe even
Ooh.
yeah, or maybe even something like he corrected you. Like I can think of a many leaders who had to give me tough feedback, but I wouldn't be the leader I am today without it. Do
Sure.
you have any of those moments with him?
Not him specifically. I think a
Okay.
lot of his feedback would go to our general
Yeah.
manager, who was very kind, but very firm in what his expectations were. So at times he was known to pull out a ruler on the banquet tables and tell us exactly how far each the china glass silver should be from the table. We would be ironing, underlays with if they weren't perfect right there on
Yeah.
the table still. But it just he really both of them really helped me to have a precise eye. And I appreciated that because it's
Yes.
like anything you learn in life, if you can learn the baseline of how it's supposed to be, you can really take that and create from there.
Absolutely. That helped you form the high quality that you have been able to lead and continue to build on in your career. So, what an amazing first experience. Oh,
The best, the best. And if I would have said no, it would have never happened. It would
right.
never have led me to where I am today.
Every time you say yes, you can change the world. And
That's
sometimes
right.
it's your own. That's
That's right.
so amazing. Any other outstanding memory of watching him lead? Anything else
Ooh.
stand out?
I think his passion, like bar none, the way that when he spoke, you truly believe that that was in his soul and his being, and that he wanted others to have the same love for the hospitality
Mm.
industry like his, and he just exuded it every day in every way.
That's nice to hear because sometimes they say don't meet your idols because you'll be disappointed. Uh, that
Not in this case.
that's what I want to hear. That's exactly what I want to hear. That's so fantastic. Oh God, you're just so fortunate. That's so neat.
Bless,
And to have it
definitely.
happen so early. I know even just starting a new company. I remember when I started with
Mhm.
Marriott International and I was with a general managers meeting. There were other high level corporate HQ executives there. And I know the other general managers were kind of like nervous or
Mhm.
on their toe. I don't want to say nervous, but on their toes because of the people that were in the room. But to me, I didn't know who anybody was. I was brand new.
Mhm.
So everybody was just like another colleague to me. And so I
Right.
was able to just come in there and just be myself completely because I didn't realize the levels that were in the
Mhm.
room. And I just was me,
That's right. And at some
which
point, that's how we all have to be to kind of bring our guards down when it comes to being in the C-level space when we are not used to that. And sometimes a little ignorance helps us. So in your case and
yes.
in my prior case, yes, it did.
Yes, exactly. And that's exactly why I brought that up because it had you known the significance of who he was, you might not have actually had as good of an experience because you would have been maybe afraid to approach or afraid to,
Very
you
true.
know, instead of just, hey, I'm your new associate.
That's right. Very true.
So I love that. I think that's a really good thing to go into a room and have everyone in your mind being on that same level, same playing field. And yeah,
Even playing field, as
yes,
we all should be, because all of
yes.
our thoughts and values should be valued the same. And we are finding that more and more, especially in the hospitality
Mm,
industry, as we're going higher up. And I find that in my role specifically, and with the
mm.
creation of my role.
Let's just go right into that. Tell us about the creation of your role and what you do for Peachtree.
Awesome. Well, I am in charge of culture, programs, and engagement. I'm a VP. I work with all laterals of our organization. A little bit about Peachtree Group. We specialize in hospitality and real estate investment, and we deliver high performing assets and consistent returns through innovative strategies. And in short, we buy, we lend, and we build. And the leg that I sat on previously and still hold tight to is the hospitality side, which is 100 plus hotels now. We just
Wonderful.
took on a beautiful pack of hotels in Detroit that kind of brought us over the 100 hotel mark last month. We brought on 450 employees. We spent 2 weeks there just hitting the ground running, and we did a transition, the biggest transition to date.
Wow.
And we were able to execute very efficiently. So I had a part in that when it comes to like the HR side and the culture side. And then I run about 50 to 60 culture programs a year internally. And you could see some of it externally on our social media. I'm the chief writer and editor of a magazine, an internal magazine we call Peachtree Group, that is specific to our hospitality team. And I run our annual conference, our kickoff event, our summer events, lots of things.
Basically, Nicole, you have the best job in the
I
entire
do.
company. And
Everyone knows.
I had a similar position when I opened up Key Lime Cove Water Resort. I called myself the director of fun because you get to do all the fun stuff.
That's right. Every company needs a director of fun, an executive of fun. I like to call myself the CEO of fun. That name is not stuck yet. I'm hoping one day it does.
Well, here at the Wise Findable, I call myself the CFO, the Chief Fun Officer.
I love it.
Yes. But yeah, you truly do. And it's a gig of a lifetime, right?
It really is. I'm truly blessed. And the fact that our owners found the value in creating this role, just the ROI that it's created and the programs that we've been able to launch effectively has been astonishing. And we grow so rapidly. So our thinking has to be progressive. The way we operate has to be cohesive, and we have to execute on certain timelines. And that's what kind of makes us so beautiful, is that we're able to do that across all of our laterals.
Yes, I love it, which is another great segue here for me, because one of the main reasons I decided to actually go ahead and do this is because I wanted to talk to somebody from Peachtree. And the reason why I've been wanting so much to talk to somebody from Peachtree is because Peachtree has said yes to some amazing culture programs. And I know the one I really want to talk about, you were there at the inception, and that is your paid vacation program. Tell everybody about this amazing benefit.
So we call this the Vacation Reimbursement Plan. We love acronyms. So VRP is what we use. And this helps team members to take time away by reimbursing their vacation-related expenses during approved PTO times. And this is for all of our property GMs and DOSs, and then everybody at the home office. There's, a different variation of what those funds look like, but it could be right out the gate, somewhere around 1,000, all the way up to somebody with my 10 years at 5,000. And then really what we found is that when we developed this program, which we did in the summer of 2022, after COVID, we felt that retention, satisfaction, and pay were directly linked to longevity. So we really kicked it into high gear as to what that looks like by region, by market when it came to pay, of course. And then just from like a whole higher arching perspective of how we can ignite our culture organically. What makes sense? What works for us? What has longevity? And then lo and behold, they came to me, probably because I smile so much. And I have a good attitude most of the time. But they asked if this was a role that I would be interested in. And I said, all the way. Let's go make some change. Let's be some trailblazers out there. And then lo and behold, this program was so graciously put on our plates by our owners and our president. And we find that it just really encourages rest. It helps our team members recharge, which is very, very necessary in our industry. We've seen so much burnout. So many people leave the industry and come back. Leave again, come back again. It's just been nuts. We also find that it builds trust. It shows how valued, we see you. And and there's that value with longevity, of course, and then it
Yes.
strengthens loyalty. It's a unique benefit, and we feel that it encourages team members to stay, and then it supports growth. Time
Hmm.
off leads to fresh ideas and better teamwork. And we love to celebrate. We have a whole landing page for all of our vacation reimbursement pictures. We
Oh,
have
I
them all up all
love
over our
that.
home office. We celebrate it. It's something that's extremely costly, but the ROI is endless.
Yes, well, I want to ask about that too. But let me
Mhm,
just back up for a second. So, if you are a new GM, let's just say,
mhm,
how does
mhm.
that work for you?
Perfect. So after a year of service, they will be able to apply for $1,500 all
Okay.
the way up to until 3+ years of service. They're at the $3,000 mark, and there's paperwork, of course, associated. There's other documentation that kind of lists out, what is included in that, and it's
Mhm.
pretty much everything. It's your gas, it's your plane ticket. We've had people request, hey, I'm going to my lake house with my kids. I actually want to buy a wave runner. You're like, yes, you can use it towards that. I mean, we're very lenient of
Yeah.
when you can use the funds too, because another thing that's great about us is that we really hone in on individuality. So we know that nothing's ever going to be like cookie cutter, one stop
Right.
shop. You have to have strict parameters to keep from chaos. But in this world, vacation is different for everybody.
Yes.
Just different for everybody. So we're super lenient on what that looks like in terms of what we reimburse.
That's amazing. So again, it's after a year of service, and then each year with as your tenure grows, that amount can grow, and basically you don't just get this bonus check. You say what you'd like to use it for,
Yep.
and then yeah,
Yep.
I love it. Now here's where I want to go back to the hundreds and hundreds of people I know that work for Merit International, and they have their quarter century club, which is
Mm-hmm.
people stay with Marriott for decades upon their entire career,
Mm-hmm.
reaching for that 25-year goal, right? I mean, people love to have a goal to hit,
Right.
and
Very
but
much
but
so.
it worked. I mean, people, almost everybody I met at Marriott had like was just about to reach their 20
Mm-hmm.
quarter century. So I mean, that is a retention game changer. And
Absolutely.
I absolutely believe that this is as well. And but it's even better because you don't have to wait 25 years to cash in, you know?
Correct.
You
Every
get
year, every calendar year, then. So
yes.
I could take a vacation in December of 24, and then January of 25, I'm back on vacation reimbursement. So so there's that.
Yeah, I mean that's amazing. It's an amazing thing. And this is especially since COVID. I just keep
Mhm.
talking about how we can do this so much better, how we can revolutionize hospitality. And when I learned about this, I literally learned about it from seeing a general manager post about it on LinkedIn. So that was so cool.
Very
I
cool.
just have been so in awe with Peachtree for
Oh,
stepping up and doing something great. I mean, really great.
thank you.
And I haven't heard anything that can compare right now from anyone else. And there might be
Love
out there.
that.
And if you're out there, I want to hear from you.
Game on.
Let's talk about how you do make that possible because most people would look at
Hmm.
that and go, like you said, it's an expensive program.
It
But
is.
you turn over one $15 an hour associate, that's over $6,000. Okay. Imagine your higher level leaders and what that would cost and and what you lose from your property falling apart for a little bit until you get the new person. We know what it's like. But how do you make that work in your business model?
During an onboarding meeting with Hilton several years ago, I was told once that if you lose a DOS at a full service property, that could equate to almost $1 million in business. So if you look at it through that lens, how accurate that number is, I don't know to this
Hmm.
day, but Even from a financial perspective, what we are paying on the front end is holding the retention of our teams on the back end. And so,
Mhm.
yes, you can't necessarily see that ROI on paper. We know it's there, it's built in, and we can see it through our growth as well. The fact that we've been able to grow and grow at the pace at which we have been so effectively is because our teams are staying, because our GMs and DOSs are highly engaged in our culture, are happy to come to work because of all those underlying factors that we've created
Mhm.
in these hectic still environments. So with the retention rate, I do want to say we've been able to highly promote from within. So it all correlates. So we found out all this organic growth and these programs that make sense to us. We were able to grant 300 internal promotions last year. And already
Whoa.
to date this year, we're at 217. That is insane. That's over 500 promotions in the last 2 years. You cannot do that without high retention.
Yes.
It won't exist. It doesn't exist.
Right. You don't have the bench. So,
Correct.
do you have an actual retention rate where you can say, okay, say 2022 versus 2021 versus 2023? Do you have any of those stats?
I don't, but that would be pretty impactful to see on paper.
Yeah.
And
You know
maybe
what
we'll
else you
just
could look
create
at?
initiative around it.
Yes, exactly. And this could also create your actual ROI. You know, a great
Mm-hmm.
stat you could look at is how many W-2 forms you sent out in, let's call it January of 21, January 22, January of 23, 24. How many associates in the company, and then how many W-2 forms you sent out. Because I'll give you an example of why this is a hot button in my mind, is because I was at a general managers conference. I was their keynote speaker, and the CEO had made a speech, before I went on. And one of the things that she said was our big focus going into this next year is retention.
Mm.
And she said, we have, let's call it 650 associates, team members in our company. And this year we sent out over 1,200 W-2 forms.
Wow. That's
If
amazing.
you were to times that by 6,000, the difference,
Yeah.
it's millions of dollars in
Wow.
turnover. It's
That's
millions of dollars.
insane.
It's
It's
insane.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that might be a great way to
I appreciate
measure,
that.
yeah, that turnover. But yeah, because
Great idea.
it is so it's so impactful. And then that's the thing I want to say. Well, what are we doing? It can't just be a mission and vision statement. It can't just be,
Action always
yes,
speaks louder than words. And if I
yes,
can make any suggestion, it's just going back to the basics, like
yes.
crawl, walk, run, see what works organically, make
Hmm.
whatever makes financial sense at the time,
Hmm.
build into these programs, invest in your people. I know everyone says that, but it works. And
Yes.
we are a testimony to that.
Yes. Is there anything that you can share of how you actually, business side of it, have the funds available, have that operate? Is there any behind the scenes stuff that you could share on how another company might be able to implement something like that?
From a fun standpoint, I think we're just really good at budgeting. The fact that we're hoteliers and we budgets are our thing, and we also have a highly vested ownership team. Our stakeholders pretty much are vested in our people tenfold before they say, what is the cost necessarily?
Hmm.
They say, okay, this will work. Why? And then they make the numbers work. I've never worked for more gracious owners in my entire life. This is my fifth ownership company that I've worked for. A lot of it's just because my hotels would get purchased, not because
Yes.
I necessarily left. But at the end of the day, it's you have to see the ROI in your people,
Hmm.
and that's the bottom line. And you got to
I
just
love
make
it.
it work.
I know I can attest to this as a general manager. We would get all this vacation time, but when it would come around, it was like, oh, the end of the year is near and it's use it or lose it. And I just be like, well, thanks anyways. Here you go. I,
I
I don't have the
hate that.
time or the staffing to get vacation. So, is there anything that you do to ensure that vacation is a priority for your leaders?
I'm so happy you asked that because I did not think you were going to bring that up, but I'm glad that you did because we do have a task force team. That team has grown significantly. We do that for the GM. So these will be boots on the ground folk that will
Mm-hmm.
come in and that will run the hotel so that you can step away and you can actually turn off. I mean,
Actually,
what is that?
yes.
And then we actually have that program for our director of sales. We call market
Mm.
sales managers, where they will take on a lump sum of vacant hotels and they will work those markets. And these are all promotions from within as well. We're all boots on the ground folk who have come up. So we
Mm-hmm.
understand all the different levels in between, and we're able to work more effectively, even with more hotels on our plate.
That is exactly what I'm talking about. That was one of the first things that I was mentioning when we came out of COVID on how to revolutionize. Because again, so many, especially if you are a select brand general manager, you know that you're so critical to the operation that if you
You
step
are.
away, everyone hurts while you're gone.
They really
And
do.
if we as management companies can have this task force team that says, okay, when everyone send in your vacation dates, we're going to schedule your task force person and you're going to actually be able to go on vacation. I love that.
Amen. Yep.
Peachtree has got it going on.
Listen, we try. I'll tell you that much.
Yes, you genuinely want your company to be the best, to have
We
the best
do.
culture, to be a great work experience. And that's where it starts. A wonderful thing. So let me hear a little bit more about you. What moments or achievements in your career are you most proud
Ooh,
of?
wow. That is such a great and loaded question.
I know there's so many things
I
I'm sure you're so proud of.
I am really proud of myself for persevering through this industry. I started as a senior sales manager with Peachtree after having my first baby. He was only 3 months old. I jumped ship because, this other hotel was going to let me work from home a little
Mm.
bit. That's how they got me. And then how I progressed with Peachtree, and they kept putting me in a bunch of white spaces that didn't exist. So I became the
Um,
DOS at our first full service property in Birmingham, Alabama. And then I progressed to a area DOS, taking on our first cluster environment in
mm.
Birmingham. Then I moved on to a regional while I was a DOS. Then I moved on to full service regional and luxury brands, and now into this culture role. And a couple of those roles in between are white spaces. The roles didn't exist. I needed to build them out per se, see how they work, what's going to work, and teach the next generation behind me so that I can move on and they can take my place and do it better than I did it.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately, it's about paying it forward. And people have paid it forward to me my entire career, starting with Horst and West Paces and that whole team, all the way to Peachtree. Every single person along the way, I learned from. I took the good and I left the bad. And
Yes.
then if you take the good from, 10, 15 managers, you yourself become super strong.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. How about with leading the culture initiative,
Mm.
employee belonging? What is your approach to ensuring that all employees, associates, team members, what does Peachtree refer to their employees for by?
Team members.
Team members. That's what I like
Mhm.
too. At every level, how do you ensure that team members feel a sense of belonging in the workplace?
I would say we do that through our curated culture programs. Through the year, we find different outlets that will make sense to as broad of an audience as possible. May it be mental health or women's health or men's health
Mhm.
or Holidays. Holidays are a big thing. My holidays
Yes.
are not the same as everyone else's holidays. So, do we have a floating holiday date? You know, which holidays or do we give off? So we've gone as far as to giving everybody summer hours. So everyone gets out at 3 o'clock from the home office standpoint, as you know, and then our owners are so gracious. They're like, we jokingly said it at a town hall. How about fall? And they said, you got it. I was like, oh man, if this is how we're gonna roll.
How about industry trends? What trends are you
Oh.
seeing in the workplace culture for team member engagement that excites you for our future? Anything new on the horizon?
Ooh,
Any
yes.
trends you're seeing? You guys are the trendsetter, if you ask me. But
I think um, I think the next trend is combining culture with community responsibility.
Mhm.
You know, we have a best practice we put into place most recently. We've partnered with Procure Impact. It's a B2B supply company who represents underestimated suppliers, and they supply hotel goods, the things we use every
Yeah.
day. And what we've been able to do is we've pledged a certain amount of hours. We're already at 20% of that goal in the first 30 days. We've created all these beautiful platforms based off of those suppliers. And
Oh.
we've created a VIP amenity site, a Moments That Matter site where we can gift in our team members for, you know, some of those big moments, weddings, anniversaries, illnesses, deaths, babies, all the
Oh.
big things in life. We utilize that through Procure Impact. But I think there's some, and then the hotel properties can create market kits and use these supplies in their everyday market on property. But what we're starting to see is, again, organically, our team members, 79 of our hotels out of the 100 have already been purchasing. So that's huge. The buy-in is there. We actually
Yes.
gifted them a market kit just to kind of ignite what was going on. We told them all about the program. We had a big launch call. We brought
Mhm.
in Procure Impact, and we have ongoing initiatives to kind of keep it enlivened. We also utilize the platform for our sales blitzes. So it's
Um,
really full circle, being able to be responsible to the community around you, to the world around you, really.
mhm.
And then also to supply the needs of your hotel at the same time, at the same cost, if not less in certain areas. I
Mhm.
mean, to be economically responsible is mind blowing.
Is your wow moment type of thing, is that just associate based or is that guest facing as well?
It is both. So
Okay.
the Moments That Matter is team member based. It's the home office, and the rest, the sales blitzing, the market kits, the VIP amenity site, all of that is customer facing.
Customer, that fantastic. I love that.
Yeah. Oh, and the customers love it. They're flying off the shelves because of the marketing that we've been able to present in the markets with these goods that tell a story as to what these goods are and
Mhm.
where they come from. It might be from a special needs program in Chicago. It might be from sex trafficked group out of Austin, poverty stricken. I think we're at 90% of our lump is towards the poverty.
Oh, wonderful.
Underrepresented area. So it just depends on the goods that you purchase and where those funds actually will be located.
Love that. And say the name again of that.
Procure Impact.
Procure Impact. I love that. And now, are
Mhm.
there any culture projects that you're like, passion projects that you're working on right now that maybe aren't implemented? Give
Ooh.
us a little sneak peek. Anything that's a passion project for you right now?
Couple. So I've got some big parties planned, one of which is going to be a big team building event for all of our remote and in office folk. We're going to come together. We've never done that before. We're just going
Awesome.
to start the year fresh. We're going to celebrate all of our wins.
And what advice would you give to any leaders who are looking to improve their company's culture but just don't know where to start?
I would start with some trusted advisors that you have within all the different levels of your organization, starting with the boots on the ground all the way to your seat space, and get their idea of, where the culture is and where you'd like to see it go, and
Mhm.
then roadmap it with things that don't put a square peg in a round hole. It has to be organic to your organization. It has to make sense to your people and with your needs. So it's a very creative process,
Mhm.
um, but you have to be a good listener.
Yes. And I love that too, because you want to know where you are, you want to know where you want to go, and you got to know how to measure it.
Mm-hmm.
So those I think
Correct.
are three big keepers there. And I love bringing in a mentor, bringing in an outside source even that and listen to your people and take it from there. Assess first before just throwing things at the wall. See what
Amen.
sticks. Yeah, yeah, love
Yep.
that. Love that. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
how about a couple fun questions for you? Do you have a hidden
Okay.
talent that you would love to share with us? What hidden talent do you have that we'd be surprised about?
I can do the alphabet in sign language ambidextrously.
Love
I
that.
messed it up at the end because I got nervous, but I taught myself that when my first baby brother was born. The first night I ever stayed up. We have a huge family, and
Oh,
still to this day I know it except for the end. I mean,
now what is your favorite icebreaker that you love to do at meetings or whatnot, or your town hall?
at town hall. I think at meetings is where we really do our icebreakers, and we really
Okay.
like to find out, kind of like what you did, what's the most unique thing about you
Yes.
or about your life, or. So people can
Mhm.
have a floor to say something kind of wild and wacky if they want to, or they
Yes.
could be, just, however they are.
Well, something funny about me is every single day I do the cartwheel. I do a cartwheel and splits so that I never have to say I used to be able to do a cartwheel and splits.
I love you. That is awesome. You're giving me a run for my money, Christine. My goodness.
Well, we're two directors of fun. Come on.
I mean, a yin and a yang for sure.
Yes. I'm gonna ask you
Same
one
here.
more regular question.
Okay.
Is if you had a magic wand, kind of a fun dreaming
Mm.
question. If you had a magic wand to implement any benefit, any team member experience, if you will, what would you if dream up if you could do anything? No ties to budget.
Wow. Another
Yes.
really good loaded question. No, I love it. I would say for me, from a culture standpoint, we're already so firm.
Yes.
I would say if I had a magic wand with inflation the way it is, we
Yeah.
already grant raises every year.
Mhm.
I would just love to keep up with inflation, exceed it.
Yes.
But the metrics behind that is how we get there. So um
Yes.
it's not feasible, but I would love to give everybody raises every
Yes.
year.
I love that. Or pay for all the gas.
All at the minimum. We do get really good gas reimbursement. It's pretty significant to what it used to be.
Oh, that's very exciting.
Oh yeah, cell phone reimbursement. Our
Oh my gosh.
401k is amazing. We do paternity and maternity leave.
Amazing.
6 month fully vested 401k. It's just the benefits are astonishing.
Well, we're going to staff up your company. Let me ask
I
you this.
guess.
Do you have a lot of GM positions or AGM positions available right now?
We do have some,
Some?
and
Okay.
yeah, and any of those can be found at peachtreegroup.com.
And I'll put
Um,
that link in the show notes for everybody.
Beautiful.
Yep,
Thank you so
definitely.
much.
This is a company you want to be a part of.
We
Now,
sure do.
every episode, I ask my guests to give me a question for my next guest. And I'm going to get
Ooh,
that from you in a moment. So
ooh,
think a little bit about that. If you could have two front row tickets to any concert,
ooh.
Who are you seeing?
Cher and Madonna.
Oh, those
I
are
can't
good.
say Tina anymore.
Yes.
So it would definitely, I'll go to Cher and I'll go to Madonna. And then it would probably be younger, 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 younger.
Yes. Well, we saw Cher in 2019 and it was awesome. Yes.
Oh my
It
goodness, I'm so
wasn't front
jealous.
row though. It wasn't front row.
Ah.
If we were to sum up 3 takeaways for leaders
Mm,
out there who are listening in today on
mhm,
our talk today, what do you think are 3 takeaways to go take action on or just
mhm.
to really think about? What are your thoughts?
Hey, listen to your people,
Listen to your people.
take that candid feedback and make action and invest in your people wisely.
Yes. Invest in your people and get out there and go do a cartwheel.
And girl, I'm gonna do a cartwheel with my daughter when she feels better.
Okay. Well, Nicole, I can't tell you. I swear I could sit here and talk with you another hour. I just have loved every second with you.
Me too.
Thank
Thank
you for
you.
being here with us and
Oh,
sharing all the awesomeness of your company. And I'm telling you, those positions aren't going to be open long.
listen, and if anyone's looking for a third-party management company as
Mm,
well,
yes.
we are 30% of our portfolio is third-party managed. That huge group, we just took over Group 10 in Detroit, also
Mm,
third party. And if anybody has any needs, feel free to reach out to our president, Vicki Callahan. She'd be happy to help.
wonderful. That's a wrap for today's show. Say yes to taking action and changing the world one yes at a time. And oh, my friend, will you say yes to review, like, and subscribe? The more yeses you give, the more juicy goodness I can bring to all of you wise pineapples. Cool or cool?